have I had some crazy creative ideas. Let me show you. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Leo and thank you for joining me here today. Like I said, I've had some crazy ideas. It all started off by a dream. I woke up and it was there in front of me. It was a must do sort of thing, and I really had I had the stuff ready. A lot of people commenting on social media asking me if it was smoke, was it done in Lightroom, Photoshop. The answer was no, it was all done in camera. I'm hopefully going to show you how to do it today so you can have a go and be creative yourself. It's a fun idea. You will be needing a fish tank, of course, but it don't make no difference how big it is because we're mainly doing something short. A camera, any camera will do, because you don't have to have top end gear on my channel, you don't anyway. A lens, no macro lens. If you ain't got a macro lens, don't worry about it. I use an 18 to 55mm kit lens. You can use a kit lens. All we've got to worry about is we've got to fit the fish tank, the lens to fit the fish tank. I'll show you and explain to you about that in a minute, but don't worry about that. I'd also like to say a quick shout out to Paul, because his wife has given him a good old titering for for him spending a lot of money on macro photography gear. I didn't say you got to spend money. I didn't say you got to go out and buy that lens, but it does help, don't it? So there you go. Sorry about that. And to anybody else, I get in trouble. So now I've done the quick shout outs and one thing, and I'm going to get this show on the road, because what I mean is creative. It's creative, not think you're going to like this one. So excited. So I told you, all I've got is my trusty 750D. And if you can see, yeah, it's got a receiver on the top. That's because I'm going to be able to use two flashes on the sides of the tank. Now I have used the flashes on the side of the tank to do a lot of the shots, some of the shots should I say, but I've also used just my studio lights just onto the sides of the tank, and it makes the same. If I could use these, I wouldn't use these, trust me, but if you got to use them, I'm doing it just for demonstration purposes. But really, two good bright lamps onto the side of the fish tank will work exactly the same. So we'll get rid of all that one. Also, we're needing some inks or food colorings. I've got a variety of mixtures, but make sure, because they actually stay in your hands really well, and you can, if you're going to go out somewhere later for a meal or something and see all this on your hands, they're wondering what you're on about or what you've done, and I'll get the blame for that one. So get ready to make a mess. Make sure you're covered, you got sheeting over wherever you're working, because I don't want your wives coming back or your husbands coming back leaving messages saying, look what you've done again, Lee. So we'll like that one. Now I've got a few old flowers. These ones have probably seen better days now, so I managed, should I say, just to get a few of us. And I've got here this special one here, which is a Carlos Vandango. Really, it's just a chrysanthemum, but it's a pink chrysanthemum, but I thought I'd try and be, some posh. But if I just drop this into the water, what happens is, if I drop it into the water, it's going to float and bounce about, and you won't take a shot. So you need to weight it down some way. I've just found these two washers and this nut, and all I've done is got some blue tack or whatever you want and stuck it together so that I can push the flower in, mould the blue tack round it, and then when it goes into the tank, mess already. When it goes into the tank, it's going to go and sink to the bottom, and that's what we need. That is it. The next thing we need is a trusted tripod, and I can truly say the VEO+3 by Vanguard is the tool of my choice, and it is a rock solid tripod, as you can ask some of my viewers that I've already bought them. Right, here we go. This is going to be the technical part. Joking. I don't do technical. It's not in my nature. So I've got a fish tank. The bottom of the fish tank, all I've done is placed some silver foil. This is so that when the light comes from the side, it can get down to the bottom, but it's going to reflect back up, which means that it's going to light all the flower up. And the ink's what I'm going to use. So this is, like I say, it's an easy way. If we was doing smoke, yeah, you probably would need to use a flash to freeze the smoke. Because when I'm doing inks, ink flows so slowly through the water. So it means that you can capture it easier. It's simple as it. It's just as simple as that, all I can say. So we make sure we do that. So really, all we've got to do now is get it all set up. Next tip, when you put the water in the tank, leave it for a good half hour. Get yourself a brush, or a tough brush, a clean tough brush or something, or just go round the sides and keep making sure you get all the bubbles off, because the bubbles are an absolute nightmare and they will show up in your picture. Now, when I says to you, we only need an 18 to whatever lens, is because this is our frame. The fish tank is the frame. So we need, as long as the lens, we can get the lens to cover the frame, that's all we need. Simple as, you don't need nothing else. Now, we're going to focus, when we put the flower into the water, I'm just going to focus there. That's all we're going to focus. I've got this set up at ISO 400 f10 and 1/160th of a second, which is lower than the shutter speed the sync of the actual flash can go, because it's about 1/200th of a second. So that's all I need on that. We don't need nothing else. I've got it on flash settings. That's all, and that's really all we need with that. The ISO 400, yeah, you're going to say, but you're using the flash, it's going to be too bright. I'm only putting the minimalist of light through. This is what I'm saying. This is why I says we can use lamps onto the side, because the lamps on the side still do the job, because the ISO 400 will make sure that the background still stays a nice clean colour. Also, if you have trouble getting the background clear, just get some white paper, just put it at the back of it, and this will help brighten it up even more. It also will show the colours out a lot better. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to be showing you without it, because you won't actually see anything if I do this and put that there, and by the time I've dropped the flower in and run around with a camera, the ink will be gone and it's all a mess. So I'm just going to kindly direct you through it, should I say. I don't know. Right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to drop the flower in there now, very slowly. That was very majestic, wasn't it? Right, I'm going to get my tool again, and I'm just going to place the flower to wherever I want it. Now, while you've got this out, make sure there's no bubbles on the flower or anywhere else. I'll just give them a tap, and you'll see all the bubbles just start coming out the pockets of the flower. This is important because you're going to see them. You'll see all the bubbles if you don't do it. If you don't get them all out. So I'd spend a bit of time just poking them out the way. And we've set up over now. Then setting your flashes up. Now these are on 1 1/2 of the power, because like I says, I don't really need it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to stand them up the side like that. That is it. Turn my receiver on. Before we go any further, I'm going to do the same with this one. Flash on. Knock my power down. 128 for the power. That's all we need. You leave the pip saying, I'm ready. And we're going to put that one on the side. Now, shooting through the sides, this will actually freeze the ink coming through the water as well. But like I says, the ISO, I want the background to be bright. I don't want it to be black. If the background's black, you ain't going to see the colours that you drop in, trust me. So you need to keep that background as nice and bright as you can. So there we go. Drop this my old faithful camera onto my old faithful tripod. There we go. Get comfortable. Could be here a long time. Put my live view on. Yep, I'm going to spin that round so I can see. Now all I've got to do is level it up. Might have to come back a bit on that one. There you go. That's all set, all ready to go. What I've done is I've used autofocus, so it's sharp. Once it's on autofocus, I'm just going to turn it off and put it onto manual focus. I know it's not going to move. The F10 will run the colours through. Then all we got to do is when we're dropping the inks in, you just look to where you want them, pop a shot off, and then you got what you want. And that looks quite sexy, to be fair. Right, let me turn this on. Come on in. Make sure my flashes are working. Right, it's a bit bright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that one back a little bit. And that's perfect, that's ideal. Like I says, don't think you've got to use flashes. You can use 2 lights on the side, it'll work. Now all we've got to do is we've got to get the inks. Now, when you see the different colours in some of my pictures, what I do is I cheat a bit first. I get the yellow or I get the light blue. And what I do is I just drop it in, tiny bit, on the back first. And what this actually does is it gives me a nice golden colour. Not too much straight away. So when it's starting to go down now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix the yellow into the water. Only a tiny bit of it. You don't need a lot, just a tiny bit will do. Now this automatically has changed my colour, and it's also changed the density of the water, meaning now I haven't got a white background now. I've got a yellowish background, which is easier to start and work with. So remember that one. If I wanted a blue background, I'd put a tiny bit of blue in, stir it round, get it to the colour I want, and then take a shot. Or take a lot of shots before you start. Make sure you set up, and it's got to be perfect, because the trouble is if it isn't perfect, you end up changing the water 10,000 times and expect to change water a lot of times. Because when I first started doing this, I had to change the water a lot, because it was a learning curve, and I'm still learning now doing it today. But I'm understanding now a lot more how to get better colours, better backgrounds, and better details into my shot. So like I says, by me just dropping that bit of yellow in, mixing it round, it's given me a yellow canvas. Now all we've got to do now is pick your colour of choice. And I've got a nice teal one here. Then all I'm going to do is, I know where the middle of the flower is. You You can either drop it at the back of the flower. Well, you ain't got it. You can drop it wherever you want. I tend to drop mine one drop on the back, and I put one drop just on the front of it, so it sits. And then what happens is it sits in the petal and it seeps out really nice, and that's where I get my effects. So here I go. Like I said, you haven't got a rush. So that's one on the back. That's one on the front of the petals. I'm going to wait till I see something I like. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as the colours drop out, yeah, if you wait a while, 5 minutes or so, the colours will be gone. So when the colours are gone, because they sink to the bottom, it means that then you can get your next one and do the same again. But it's so much fun. You can have so much drops. You can just try it anywhere. But I find this, oh, that's nice. I find this very therapeutic. Like I said, I had a dream and I woke up thinking, what would it be like if I'd done this? Would it be work? Would it not work? So I just thought, you know what, I'll have a go. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. Simple as. But to be fair, it worked quite well. And like I says, we don't need a massive deer lens. This is a £50 lens that came with the camera. It's 750D, an all-time camera, and still getting shots like this. But the colours in this water is absolutely unreal. Let me see if I can try and quickly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put here now, like that. And you can see the colours. I know it's a bit dirty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some colour in just to see if you can see the colours and try and explain to you. So what I'll do is I'll put one there, bump, bump. And as you can see, as it goes down, it wraps around that flower so nice. And if I wanted to brighten it up a bit more, put some yellow in, and you can see how the background changes. As it goes down, you get all the nice effects. And like I says, your camera settings might be different to what I'm using. I always say this and I'll constantly say it, because different lighting, different cameras, different lenses all work different, but it's the same sort of thing. So all you've got to do is trial and error. And that is how simple that is. I'm going to put some shots up because I ain't only use flowers. I've used a couple of other different things. I've tried feathers, works brilliant. Tried a couple of other little things which I'm happy with, but I'm trying to keep them for the competition I'm going to enter. So I ain't going to put them ones up, but I'll put you some pictures up now and see what you think. How did you like those pictures? Let me know in the comments box below. I quite enjoyed doing it, and like I said, I found it very, very, very therapeutic. I didn't like the very cleaning mess up after, but with mess, you know, you got to give and take sometimes, ain't you? Mrs. H made me clean up, don't worry. Mrs. H did not done on this time, and Andy isn't here to clean my mess up this time. I've had to do it all on my own. Like I say, if you want to shout out, let me know, and if your wife or your husband's getting on to you, I'm ever so sorry, but Paul, your wife did say she liked my voice. So that's a bonus. I hope you like says, try new things. That's all, you know, all that photography is about is trying new things. People ask me where I get my creativity from. This one just come from a dream. You know, it can happen. I don't know. But as long as you've enjoyed it, I hope you're all keeping well and safe. And until next time, stay safe and happy snapping.